working concurrently all my life as a professional dancer, teacher, choreographer in New York City. I had started to branch off to teaching adults over 50, and I was only, in my 40s myself.
VeeFam, welcome back. My name is Mr. Messer, but you can call me Rob, and I am over the moon excited to be here with the one, the only Web3 educator, pillar of our community, gardener, composting aficionado, all of the above, the wonderful Miss Peg Moore. Peg, how are you? Welcome to the VeeFam sessions.
Thanks so much, Rob. I'm really excited to be here. This is wonderful.
This is a long time coming. I was looking back in our DMs, and we've been talking since 20
Right.
about getting together, and we finally did it. I'm so thrilled. I appreciate your time, and I know a lot of people just adore you, and I think they're gonna love hearing your story. So, with that, I always like to, before we start talking about all of the stuff in the present, I like to take a step back. So, if you don't mind giving us the 2 to 3 minute Cliff Notes version on who Peg was prior to ever hearing the word NFT.
Okay. I've been working concurrently all my life as a professional dancer, teacher, choreographer in New York City, and a tech person. My husband and I had an early tech business in the 90s through the 2000s. And so now I like to say I have one hand in the metaverse and one hand in the earth because of the composting and things. But yeah, so I was born in New York City, okay, in the Bronx. And do you know why it's called the Bronx? The Bronx?
I no, I don't.
Okay, because it was their property, okay, the Bronx, Broncs, okay, like the Messers, okay, so it was like the Messers property, and that's why it's the Bronx, okay, so
Oh wow.
yeah, right. um, and so I was born actually on the street where I currently live, and we moved away. My father is a professional radio disc jockey who has, like national recognition, and we moved away with his radio job. We came back to New York years later. I met my husband, who I had actually crossed paths with like 10 times in our life, and through a whole fluke where we lost our apartment on the week of the wedding, I ended up, we had to, come to where his parents, his home, and so I live on the street where I was born, actually, okay. And we did
That's
not know each
fascinating.
other back then. So I had a career as a professional dancer, and then my husband's a professional civil engineer. And we, as I said, we had a tech business called Mitco Engineering, and started in the 90s. And he became very ill. He was on a project for Homeland Security, and he's, like I said, civil engineer. And he became ill with fevers, and he's ill to this day from that. Causes a lot of neurological problems and migraine headaches that don't go away, and things like that. So um, he we had to close the business, but I had started to branch off to teaching adults over 50, and I was only, in my 40s myself. But we recognized the need for older people, to join the, the coming computer revolution. So I created a syllabus, and Verizon hired me at a famous like senior center in New York City, and I had a year and a half where I taught this class, every week, and I had people up to 97 years old. So I did that for a number of years, and then I did social media for adults because for the same types of things. Okay, I had friends who were professional dancers and teachers, very famous people in New York City, who couldn't get their hand high enough in the air because younger people, social media had come along. Young people knew how to do it, and so I gave that, I started doing that and assisting those people to get online, get their business online, and also do the associated social media. So come to and we'll talk more about Gary Vaynerchuk later, but come to about 2000, and I saw the whole thing converging, and I said, I had just started doing the 50 plus tech club for 3 years, where I then was doing businesses and helping people, get on to all the social media platforms and that were over 50 years old. So, teaching them to do it for themselves. And when I saw this come, I just threw everything out. I said, no, I need to be in Web3. I need to, like everything in my life has come to this point. And so I just, even though I had only done that for the 3 years, I said, that's it.
So are you still, is that still existing, the club? Are you still educating?
No,
No.
in 2021, and see, here's the thing, I went all in, right? And so I with my business and everything, and I got cancer right after the VeeFriends mint. Okay, I was already experiencing some problems during that time in May of 2021, and I felt something was wrong. Okay, and even though a lot of people wouldn't go to medical facilities because of the pandemic was
Yeah.
still going, right? And I didn't. I said there's something wrong. I have a pretty good intuition with my body from being a professional dancer. Like you know when there's a little thing off.
Right.
And
Sure.
so I went, and I went through the 10-day thing where they say, okay, do this for 10 days and then come back if you're still feeling badly. So I came back, believe me, on the 10th day because I thought something was wrong, and I had cancer. So I had skin cancer, and I had a biopsy, that showed that I had a type of cancer that's caused by a virus, and there's nothing else they could do but radiation and chemotherapy. They could offer me a clinical trial there for this area. They can't surgically do anything. So I decided to do that. Okay. And I went in all in on that. Okay. And it was really good. I think they believe they've cured that cancer. So,
Amen.
right. But during that, so now that was a lot. Okay. I did, and while I was doing that, I continued to learn, and I started to speak in places with Web3 and do other things with the World of Women platform, and behind the scenes to keep going while I was doing that. And it turns out that I was doing so well, okay, on the program, that one of the doctors decided not, there's a blood test where they can see if you have cancer. And she decided, like, she was lazy. She didn't run the blood test. And my cancer went up like 3 times the amount. And turned out I had a concurring cancer that they didn't pick up. And so now I had to go back. There was a surgery for where this area was, okay, and I had surgery this September, and chemotherapy, which I just really finished about 4 weeks ago. So that has taken up, all of that time. Like I said, I went. I was telling Gary Vaynerchuk about it, right? I said, I went all in, okay, with the Web3, and I was like, oh. So I didn't gamble and lose entirely, because I'm coming out on the other side. I'm doing really well, and they
That's
even
amazing. I was going to
the
say,
word
how are you feeling right now?
they're using the word cure. So I'm thrilled.
Amazing. So that just warms my heart. It's something that touches everybody in so many different ways. And there's, obviously not great endings, but I'm so happy that you're on the up and up and that you're here and, you're glowing and, you get to talk about it in that way. Real quick, that's fascinating story. And now, like, I'm started putting the pieces together why you're such an amazing spaces
Oh,
host, giving value and educating because you have that background of what I think is a very, very needed and cool niche of teaching, that generation about tech, whether it's for business or even just keeping up with your people's families, a Facebook account, things like that. So,
yeah.
very cool. You mentioned your dad. Did I see that he was at the Ed Sullivan show with the Beatles? Did I see a picture of that somewhere in your
Oh,
feed?
my father was actually the MC, okay, of their first U.S. concert in Washington. Okay, so
Got it.
There was
Wow.
a snowstorm in New York, and they had to take the railroad to DC, and he met them there, and then later there was the show, and then he was also the MC of their second U.S. concert.
Wow. What a cool story. What a
I was 5 years old.
uh,
Think about you have a child. I know you have a child that's five, right? So think
yeah.
about that, right? I was 5 years old, and
That is so cool. What a thing to have on your resume. Um, awesome. So, and here you are, 5 years old then, and now you're one hand in the metaverse, one hand in the earth. I love that. Let's go. Well, let's go here. When was the first time you remember hearing the name or reading the name Gary V?
at least 20 years ago. And I was fortunate enough. Someone gifted me breakfast last year in on April 4th with Gary, and we were talking because he always does, he knows I know him from for a long time, and he turned to everybody. He goes, "How long do you know me, Peg?" So
Yeah.
yeah, we've determined it's 20 years that I can say at least. I with the business that I had, okay, I beta tested the internet 1.0 as you know it, okay, when there were 140 websites. So I remember him, very early, and I do remember the wine show.
Amazing. And obviously something struck a chord where you stuck with him all of these years.
Gary teaches people to fish. Okay, and I say that all the time. Okay, and if you he is so excited about helping his friends. Okay, and I know he considers all of us his friends, honestly. When he mentions about originally his vision for VeeCon was like a summer camp, and it was like, oh, you'd come back and you'd see your friends, and I really do. I think he loved just orchestrating that whole idea that it would be like a whole summer camp, and that he would see all his friends, and everybody loves him. So he, like I said, he teaches people to fish. And when there's been he had a social media deck, and I I told a couple of people in his organization, that I made a lot of money using that social media deck, and with the clients I was telling you that I had. And so I followed him, and I follow all his social media advice, everything. And then I also follow all of his, you know, uh, emotional the emotional intelligence advice. There was a time, okay, in 2021 there where between the cancer and things, my husband, I was telling you, was so ill, had a in pandemic lockdown. He had a psychiatric break, and Homeland Security would not allow him to leave the house. They didn't want him to go. They said, oh, he'll die or whatever. So they took care of him in the house, and I had to go. This was on the night of mint of VeeFriends. Okay, my birthday is May 13th, and VeeFriends mint. They tried the week before, right? But it was the
Yep.
12th, and I was all set, and it just didn't work out. And I still don't have a VeeFriend. And I will echo this: you do not have to have a VeeFriend to be a VeeFriend. I can tell you, I can attest to that for sure.
Uh, I'm I'm right there with you. I'm right there with you, Peg.
So with
Notes.
Gary now, when he said, okay, about the MetaMask wallet, and all of us that were following him, said, oh my God, and I already knew. I had been doing some cryptocurrency since 2016. And but people, in the community went, oh my God, I gotta get a MetaMask, and then he broke it all down with a 101 that is still good to this day. Okay, and you could onboard people with his MetaMask 101.
So were you in the Discord? Were you in Clubhouse right from the beginning with all those folks?
I got in Discord April 30th, yes, and I was in Clubhouse with all those folks. Yeah.
Amazing. It's such a I was a little I kind of missed the Clubhouse boat, and I got into, I think my Discord date is somewhere around like May, early May. I never really caught on the Clubhouse, but there. I like to really dig into this because, as you know, there's a lot of new people coming in with the cards and collectibles during this time that we're talking, spring of 2024. And, a lot of people miss that era. And it was a special time, giving the generosity, the kindness isn't anything new. So I would love to hear your thoughts about that era of the Clubhouse and the Discord and just the camaraderie then.
I could have had I spoken up, okay, about, what was going on, someone would have gifted me a V friend. I mean, they were just handing them out. The community was just handing them out like you're saying, it's such a generous, warm community. Gary Vaynerchuk attracts these types of people, as I was saying, especially with his his speeches about emotional intelligence and being grateful. It was flying too. You had to. It was. I have recordings of that. Okay, about when Gary would get in there, how fast the Discord would go. Okay, and all this stuff. You couldn't even see anymore. People would go. Yeah, it was such. There was such a great time. As far as for me, I was like, I'm an adult. I'll get out of my problems and I'll get myself, a V friend eventually. And it just kept getting farther and farther away from me. And my favorite token is Ambitious Angel. And if Gary sees this, okay, he knows because I dressed as Ambitious Angel, the original token for the Halloween parade with him.
Yep.
And I did tell him then, okay, I didn't want him to gift it to me or anything. So I just said, Gary, I want you to hold that. There's a go. Okay, there's an Ambitious Angel go. And I would like to buy her someday. And I hope that happens. I hope it happens before VeeCon, but we'll see. But he knows that's my token, and from the beginning. But it's so funny. I was on in my spaces tonight. Julie Sue Lamb came, and I met I knew Jeremy when he had 8 or 9 Instagram followers. We laugh about that. Okay, so Jeremy and I became friends first, and then he introduced me to Julie Sue. Like that weekend, he was like, "You guys got to meet." And then I had to do something in Manhattan, and I was wiped out. Okay, but still, I was so excited. Okay, to talk to Julie Sue, and so I did an Instagram live with her, and just on and on from there. And yeah, Jeremy and we ended up meeting a couple weeks later in 'cause he's not far from me, and it was really great. So yeah, all those early days, and just the community was so generous and kind.
I love that. Thank you for shining a light on that era. And by the way, since we're on the subject, I think Jeremy's want to be a V friend Instagram is, if you want to know what that era was like, if you want to get caught up, go to his Instagram, scroll as far back as you can go, and just start reading and watching, and you'll pretty much know everything that there was, and 99% more than people know now, because he just went hard and heavy every day. News, alpha, breaking things down, education, everything. Breaking news. He was like the breaking news guy, and then some.
Oh yeah, I mean, Gary never said anything, but people, when they thought of VeeFriends, they thought of Jeremy for a very long time, and he was a great ambassador, and as you said, worked his tail off, okay, to do the community, the news, and I mean that all of us would. I had my notifications on, and as soon as Jeremy went live, you knew there was going to be alpha. Okay, I was like, oh, you got to get, I mean, and you would probably tune into that more than even notifications from Gary.
Hmm. Yeah,
At the
yeah.
time, I'm saying it was like he already knew what Gary was going to tell you.
Yep, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. Um, During that era, he was not the only one making content, though. You started a space. You had probably have had a handful of different spaces shows
Yes.
now, but about that with Pam and Peg
Yes.
was one during that era that a lot of people caught on for. That's the kind of first time you hit my radar in that limelight. So I'd love to hear about that show, the origin and how it transpired.
Pamela and I became friends in the Clubhouse spaces, and everyone was telling us, she's 15 years younger than me, but everyone was saying, oh, you guys would get along so well, and she has a very thick Irish accent, and I'm half Irish, so um, she her token, okay, was the Irish, the elf, the entrepreneur
Yep.
elf, right? And she lost her token in LinkedIn, and it was a scam right in the beginning. Okay, she actually thought she was talking to Gary, and because it was on LinkedIn, there weren't many people. He DM'd her, and he told her exactly, like, how to buy her VeeFriend and everything, and she was like, okay, Gary. And he told her that Gary, he told her, okay, yeah, go load the MetaMask with this and that and everything, and she lost all of her money. She was going to retire her husband. Okay,
Oh my goodness.
so yeah, he had some health issues. So, um, but we became friends there, and I approached her. She had moved to Australia. It was and now she's back in Ireland. Okay, she and I would like to start up again with her. We had a 13-hour difference, and this was a very interesting thing for me because I met a lot of Australian people, in Web3, NFTs, devs, um, other projects there, and we featured them on our show. And that time difference, we had to plan our show as well, right? So it was either morning for her, night for me, and then or the other way around, and and we did it. And so each week we hosted a different NFT project or prominent. We tried to feature prominent females, in Web3, and so many of the projects that and so many that aren't didn't continue. It's so interesting to this day. I'm so glad that I did that. I really, I pushed myself out of my comfort zone to do that, and to do it at that time, or that wonky time zone and everything, for me, and but I just met so many people, like I said, now in another room called the Genius Room in the morning. Those people were still, like, it was their nighttime, and they
Mm,
would come to this space where I'd be at 6 a.m. called the Genius Room. And was in there for about a year, and that just folded. The person who was running it all the time. But so it was really exciting, what I'm saying, to do. And it was truly global, okay, because we had that audience from the US and Australia.
that's fascinating. And yeah, obviously, what a challenge, what a logistical, rope to try to handle. But yeah, like I just remember, and for those of you listening, this era was a time when VeeFriends, the official VeeFriends, wasn't doing spaces. They weren't doing. There was no Fanatics Live. There was no, there would be, Discord for special announcements. There might go live, but there wasn't everything that was put out through Twitter was community based. We had GMV friends in the morning, Jeremy and or Sal, and then there was maybe another Jeremy space later that day, and then it was about that with Pam and Peg. Maybe the Vaginas had a weekly spot, I think.
Yeah,
A late night thing here and there, but it was anything that was put out was through the community, and that's kind of where people gathered. So what a cool thing, and a nice feather in your cap. But yeah, I think I speak for many people when I say get it back together. Let's get the band back together. So in May, you didn't quite ape in May, token wise, but in August of 2021, Gary goes on live for a QVC like telethon, where he's talking about his new book coming up, which turns into book games. You did get into that one.
yes.
What was going through your mind on that day? I mean, for me, I missed out on V1 too, and when I was immersed into his stream, I was like, all right, I am not missing this boat. Like that's where my head was. I'd love to hear your perspective on that day.
Oh, if I could have bought more, I would have bought more. Okay. I had enough for 36 books and I knew that I could flip it. I just knew it was going to happen, you know. And I said, okay, I'm doing this because for sure I can flip it. And, and we'd end up with some books that I could give away, to bring other people in. And my story is that I purchased 36 books. And Gary, when he went live, again, everybody rushes because you didn't want to, get sold out. And he said, okay, we're live and everything. So everyone rushed to Amazon. And all of a sudden he said, oh no, he said, I forgot. I have a deal with Barnes and Noble. And if you already bought your books at Amazon, would you please go to Barnes and Noble and at least just make an account, So I go to Twitter like everybody else. I feel like a jerk, right? I said, oh, I go, Gary, I got my 36 books, but I will go to Barnes and Noble and see, what I can do. And I left Twitter. Okay, and all of a sudden my phone's blowing up. Okay, Jeremy knows my phone number, so Jeremy's trying to get me. There's people on Instagram, there's people on Twitter, and they said, Gary wants you. Gary wants me? I was like, what? So they said, yeah, Gary wants you on Twitter. So I go, and sure enough, it's Gary in the DM, right? I was like, I couldn't even believe this. So he says to me, Peg, he goes, you have an NFT? And I say, yeah. And he said, what's your wallet address? So I gave him my wallet address. And at first I messed up. I gave him like my OpenSea address and I ran back. I go, Gary, you think you could wait a minute? I thought I was going to lose my opportunity. He goes, sure, I'll wait. I couldn't believe this was going on, So people are saying, he's going to give you a VeeFriend. I said, no, I didn't do anything. Like that type of thing. There wasn't a giveaway. I didn't do anything, So I don't know. It took a little time, like 20 minutes later, and I had a World of Women NFT in my wallet. Okay. The most beautiful. I think she's one of the most beautiful of all of them. And it seemed like he took the time, okay, to whatever he was going to do to select it for me. And I was right about that. Okay, so it just felt, I don't know why. I mean, we're talking about a person who's nearly a billionaire and has all of these other, this huge fan base and all these other people talking to you, and you're saying, "Oh my God, he's giving me this attention. I can't even believe this," So it's not even that. I don't mean the attention. I mean he's doing all of this for me. And as I said, it turned out where when I got to VeeCon, okay, I wanted to thank him, and there's a whole story with this, okay, with gifting him some things that I had done. But his family, okay, helped pick it out too. Okay, they were there with him, and I can tell you more about that. And I actually have, kind of a little relationship with it, I mean, on online with his sister. We knew each other, and I didn't know she was Vaynerchuk. She didn't have Vaynerchuk on her name until VeeFriends, and then he gifted her a VeeFriend, and she put Vaynerchuk back on her name. So I couldn't believe that. Okay, that I didn't know that was Gary's sister.
Wow, that's what an amazing story. And the video, it's on your Instagram, probably in the Twitter line verse somewhere, of you meeting him at VeeCon 22. The big hug, him saying, "Of course I know who you are, Peg," and you have the gift for him and his mother. It's just one of those beautiful moments. So, which brings me to VeeCon 22. We didn't really know what to expect. We were excited to see people that we only knew from the clubhouses and the spaces and the chats, but would love to know, like, when you first walked in there, let's say expectations, and then what the reality was for you that first year in Minneapolis.
Well, first I want to say about Sal DeGuardia and Amanda.
Please.
I met Amanda through Vaginas and Sal, and there were all these VeeFriend giveaways, like you're saying. You mentioned earlier that there were still people giving them away. Okay, months later, and after everyone found out that I had cancer, I didn't know this, but behind the scenes, okay, they crafted a giveaway, and they were saying, "Oh, we're giving away a V1." And everybody's going to be, you're going to be there, right? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to be there. Are you kidding me? I'm going to get a V1. So um when I got to the space in Clubhouse, it was all for me. Okay, the entire community was there, and Sal and Amanda, they gifted me my trip to VeeCon. They paid for my flight, and they gave me a room at the hotel, at the Hilton Hotel. And then they had a beautiful party, okay, pre VeeCon.
Mm.
It was just amazing community party, okay, that they had, and I'm forever indebted to them, okay, for doing that. And it was just the most beautiful community moment, though, too, with everyone there, and me not knowing, I was like, okay, we're gonna give away a V1. Of course, I'm gonna be there, So
That's amazing. The ultimate virtual surprise party.
yes, and my ticket too. They were gifting me that. Yes, it was okay, and I made the most of it. And going to VeeCon, okay, I have to tell you something before that. Okay, in November of 2021, NFT NYC was the first time, okay, that we actually I had met a whole group, and this is like a historic picture. Okay, someday I have to get a nice print of this picture, but there's just a few of us in Central Park in our first New York meetup. Okay, and there's really people in there you wouldn't believe. Okay, that came to that, and that was right around the time Gary gifted me the token too. It was in August, and because I was going, I started chemotherapy that week. Okay, that Gary gifted me that too, and that really got me
Wow.
through, through with everything. So in no we since we all met on Instagram and on all of these platforms, a phenomenon started to happen, okay, that I noticed, because I've been doing, as I was mentioning, computing, tech, and social media for many years. And during 2020 pandemic, when people had to work at home, the video got very good, okay, and the audio. I mean, companies moved extremely fast to do that, and so with all of those improvements, you started to see people in a more three dimensional too, and the phones improved and all of that. So, in November 2021, the pandemic lightened up just enough, okay, that they were able to run NFT NYC, and then came back pretty badly with a vengeance there, but we met. I mean, everybody was there. Everybody, I'm saying all the early OGs, okay, all the vaginas and everybody, Mikey JT and Mikey JY and Nick D and everybody, in all those guys, right? So and they had a VeeFriends event, and then Gary had the secret wine party, so cool. And Jeremy was there. Everybody was waiting for Jeremy to get that alpha about the secret wine party.
Yeah.
So, it was just amazing. But the phenomenon that I experienced was when it was as if they stepped out of an Instagram live. Like I was live with them in the morning, okay, and then here we are, and we're all sitting with each other, okay, and they agreed with me. I said, there's something different about this, okay, that I know you all. I said, I knew you all already. I did, because and as yourself here, and you're seeing me, like I said, with this three dimensionality and the improved audio, we all knew each other. And when we got there, it was as if, okay, we had all been sitting in the same rooms for a long time, and we had, but it was really wild about that. And so that was the first time I got to really meet them. And then VeeCon was another reunion, okay, of those same people, and then all of the community. It's just one big hug fest. I mean, you couldn't walk and without seeing somebody and wanting to hug them and wanting to talk to them, and and it's just amazing.
It is a special event, but a special just experience. That's the only way I can articulate it. Just an experience. You're in this little vortex with these amazing people, um, friends new and old. So cool. So you have a picture of that. I would love to see that picture. In the years or months that followed, the market did things, the community did things. We're starting to see collabs. But one of the things that pops up often, that looking through your stuff, was your just how you injected yourself into the world of women community too, since getting that token. So I don't know much about the world of women. I know, from looking from afar, I know they do magnificent events, but I'd love for you to just wherever you want to take it, how that has been for you. I know you won an amazing award at the gala there. So I would love to just take a few minutes and learn from you about that community.
Thanks so much. When in November of 2021 at NFT NYC, because of the pandemic restrictions, World of Women couldn't travel to NFT NYC, so they didn't have a presence there, and I couldn't believe that. They're one of the major projects, and there was no presence. So through Kashvi, okay, a long distance, she and I arranged to have a luncheon, and it was in Bryant Park at this beautiful restaurant. They really always do a beautiful job, and but that was a very very special luncheon. Okay, with all the early WOW OGs and in the community that came to NFT NYC, and so it was really great, having that opportunity to produce that. And like I said, with Kashvi, she's an amazing woman who, I mean, she's 21 now. I've known her since she's, a kid. Okay, 18, 19 years old when she started being the community manager. And with when Gary gave me that token, okay, and like I said, a lot of people said, oh, he could have given you a VeeFriend. He could have given, even if it wasn't, Gary owned, right? There was a comparable token. That token was worth quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And but I know he knew, that I would benefit, that I was going to get something out of this. Okay, that if I I wanted to, right? And 3 days after he gave it to me, it was Miami NFT or something like that, I think. Gaio Siri had just become the manager for who's Madonna's manager for the World of Women, and he knew this. And when he even had the very first World of Women T-shirt, and when he was interviewed in Miami, he had that on. Okay, so I knew that he had was invested in that and excited about that project too. So they have so much opportunity. Okay, they will really help you uh, with your intellectual property. You own your intellectual property to that token, and so I can use that image, likeness, or any derivative, which I made a derivative, which is it's pretty famous now. Okay, it's a GM that I
Yeah.
made 2 years ago. It's a sunburst and a GIF. Okay, and that's what I put on the mug for Gary. And through that whole year, okay, I got a lot of opportunities, and I was nominated for uh, like innovative use of IP, okay, for World of Women. And that gala, okay, they just had their gala, and it was in Paris. Okay, and I just finished my treatments. There's no way, and I don't have a dime, okay, to go to Paris right now. So the party in Miami was world class. You know what? If you guys, you and your wife, you ever want to go, I have a Galaxy too, so I get like a +1, and that world class, okay, party. And Gary was there, so Gary, when he comes, okay, he's like, oh, everybody, everybody runs around Gary,
Yeah.
including in the World of Women community, right? And there's a whole bunch of palm trees in front of me, and I was all dressed in my formal, and So, and I was right behind him. His back was, I think I startled him a little. I came through the bombs. I'm like, Harry, I just want, I said, "Gary, I said, I want to thank you again. I said, I wouldn't be here again if it wasn't for you. And he goes, oh, Peg, you look beautiful. And he hugged me and all that. And he's just, he's just the best. So, yeah, so the gala, I went to that. And then there's been, amazing things. Okay. So something really special that I did with this token. Okay. And Gary really doesn't know. Because I don't know why I didn't tell him this at Halloween. Okay, I was with him for an hour with two other people and Team Gary V, and that's it. Okay, but I was kind of stunned. I had my surgery, and they let me. The doctors let me go and let me go to the parade and everything, and it was
Oh, wow.
something. Yeah. So I don't know why I didn't tell him this, but in March of 2023. I did a historic thing with my WoW, creating another derivative as part of a project with a group of women called Coin Queens, and we are on. You can see us on a YouTube video, okay, where we were on a Zoom call. And we were receiving Bitcoin education from someone the founder of Coin Queens brought in, and this guy Mike, and he was teaching us about ordinals, which were brand new. Okay, this is last March, and said we asked him. Okay, someone said, are there any women that have inscribed ordinals yet? And he said, I'll come back to you with that. And he did. And so we found out that there weren't any women, and we banded together and we took our PFPs from 22 women's projects. And Midjourney was new. And I think it was Midjourney 2 that we used. And we took our Ethereum PFPs. I used my World of Women 1295 that, like I said, that Gary gave me. And we fed those into Midjourney, and we asked Midjourney to turn them into Bitcoin Queens. And so, to make them cross chain.
Sure.
And we inscribed these, and they're in the first, most of them are in the first 500,000. Okay, the first 500,000 of ordinals. Mine is like 1,100,000. It got mine got caught up in as soon as ordinals went wild. Okay, things slowed down. The processing of the the inscriptions slowed down, but mine's still in the very low numbers, and it was a historic achievement. And we did it in time for International Women's Day, which was March 8th, and we finished on the 7th, and then we had a whole event. Like, no one has taken notice of this, even with all of the ordinal stuff. We were extremely early. People didn't
Very
even
early.
talking about. Yeah, we ran a like a Easter egg hunt for people if they want to. We put little Easter eggs in all of the in the PFPs online, and someone could go around and they would, if they collected it up and they put it in the right order, there was a wallet for them, a Stacks wallet with $100 in Bitcoin in that. And so nobody has that wallet yet. Nobody got it yet. That's what I did. That's another thing I did. Here it is right here. So we can. This is the mug that I made for Gary, and
that's a copy of the one that you gave him in the video.
One. Definitely, yes. This is the one I made for him in the video. I did that because of the mug life. Yeah. That's where that idea came to me. I was like, what can I give him? The mug life. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Well, that one is priceless. That you're not going to see that at any garage sale anytime soon. You mentioned the parade in October 2023 is looking from afar, looking just at the calendar of everything that put out. So much happened in October 23. It was bananas. This event, surprise, IRL events are just magical. Like you said, there was just a few people via an eruption burn that got an opportunity to go meet with Gary, go on the float in a historic. And I grew up in Connecticut all my life. I never even knew this was a thing, this parade. But a very special event. I would love for you to double click into that experience a little bit deeper, because it seemed like a very magical night.
It really was. So there, I was gifted this experience, okay, by one of the winners, and there were 10 winners, like you're saying, but only three, including me, okay, were able to go, and so it was just, I'm trying to think, Tim. Can't think of it. Redondo. I know him, Tim Redondo, from the beginning, and then Alicia. Uh, can't think of her. Oh, sorry, Alicia. Right now, your last name is escaping me, but we were there with Gary for an hour. Okay, and I could have asked him anything that I wish, but I already know. Okay, like every business thing, I've been following him for 20 years, and if I really wanted to, yeah, post 40 times a day, do this, so I've been following his social media advice. There was nothing
You know
I could
the
ask
answers
him
to
that
the
way.
test.
Yeah, yeah. So I told him a story about his mother. Okay, and I'll tell you that in just a moment. We'll go to, if you want, because this is very interesting, at VeeCon 2023. Okay, because of the gift to his mother
Yeah.
in 2022, and then there's something with his mom in 2023. So the Halloween parade has been in New York and this was the 50th anniversary. It's a very special one. My family's been going since the second year, and my brother would take my nieces, and before they would do trick or treating, and then they would go to the parade. Um, and I had not been, myself in many many years. So, but it is an extremely special event, and same, and it was special to Gary as well, for the same with New York and all of that, and being the 50th anniversary, so uh I have my ambitious angel costume, and I'm gonna say, because I'm gonna repeat this, okay, when I talk about Gary's mother, this whole experience with Gary V has been like, I'm not like a religious person or like huge. I wouldn't be talking about God all the time, but it's definitely been for me like a divine experience. I've I've had these interactions with Gary, and just the the places that it's taken me each time, okay, and all this, and I can tell you, like, at another time, like all of the different things that lined up, which I did discuss with his mom. So with the parade, yes, I made my costume. Of course, I wanted to impress him too. But this was like in the works for a year. If I was going to go to something, I was going to make this costume. And again, it was like I haven't made anything. I'm a professional dancer and I do costumes for kids and everything. I haven't done anything like this. I can't remember. And markers and stuff. And so I got this white tunic, and I mean, I'm impressed with what I did. And my son is a professional artist, and he does illustrate textbooks and CD, all kinds of things. A professional graphic artist, and he came over to help, and he did the star part for me. I was like, I knew that I would really mess that up if I did the star in the center, and he couldn't be with me to do the wings. So I made the wings. They just came so perfect. And all of the markings and everything, I don't even know how I did it. Like, just like divine. I look at it, I was like, wow, it was like somebody helped me. Somebody took my hand and did this. So it was the coolest. So one of the sad things, and I'm going to tell Gary about it because I didn't tell him, I mean, I didn't get a chance to tell him about this, but my brother passed away in December. He wasn't, my brother had cancer as well, and he wasn't taking care of himself and things like that, but he was coming out of all of that. Okay. And so he looked like some kind of a wild man from the way his beard and all this stuff, So I went into the bathroom to change into my angel costume. Just before that, the phone rings, and I have for my brother, I have a Popeye ringtone. Okay, because we were children, it was like my favorite show when we were
Right.
small. He's 1 year younger. We're 54 weeks apart. They call it an Irish twin. So we're very, very close, right? And so, I had the Popeye ringtone for him. And so the Popeye ringtone goes off and Gary jumps. Like, I can't believe how high it goes. What the hell is that? I go, my Popeye ringtone. I said, it's my brother. He goes, Peg, you're out of control. So so I took it in the bathroom, I'm talking to my brother while I'm getting dressed, and my brother says to me, "Put me on with Gary." Like I go, I said, "No, get out of here." I just wanted to teach him a lesson, kind of, saying, no, I want you to clean up, and then I'll bring you anytime to meet Gary. And I really shouldn't have done that. Okay, I should have let him say hi to
Mm.
Gary because he passed away, and I didn't get to introduce him to Gary, and I would have liked to do that.
Yeah.
So but yeah, I regret that. I said, oh yeah, why did I do that? Out of my own whatever. Gary wouldn't have cared, but I was just trying to teach him a lesson. Like, no, get yourself cleaned up and
Yeah.
do it, right? So yeah, and Gary loved my the outfit and everything. But you know what I forgot? I brought the markers and everything. I need him to sign. The wings have all, his signature on the side and everything.
Got
So
it.
I have to if I don't get to see him before, I'll have to bring them to VeeCon. Maybe I was thinking that maybe I will wear my outfits part of VeeCon.
Well, maybe at NFT NYC coming up, you'll run into him. But yeah, I saw they had clips in the Daily V from that event, and I got to see there's a lot of footage of you guys in the looked like a hotel room chatting, and it was a beautiful costume, well done, and just a
Thank you.
pretty cool story. So, to have all that time is
It
very
was
special, and to have
surreal.
an
Yeah,
event that hits you so hard close to home is fantastic.
it was
Just
surreal walking in the room. When they took us all the way up to, like you're saying, to this penthouse. And there was Gary. He was just relaxing, sitting. He had wine and cheese for us, and
and then you got to go on the float for the whole
yeah.
duration of the.
Yes. So yeah, I was on the float with him and and the team and uh I didn't get enough pictures with the crew. We should have because there were other people dressed, one of the Tylers was dressed as a befuddled burglar
Yep,
and all
fantastic
of that.
costume.
Yeah. So it was great. Okay. And what's his name? Brown. Okay. Oh, I can't believe my brain tonight. Okay. Anyway, he kept hugging me so much, he kept knocking off my my thing all night. But the they went nuts. Okay, Corso, like I said, all of Team Guy, they really let loose. Craniac and everything, and they
Yeah.
were they were making the whole float the entire time. I'm like, I just had all this surgery.
Oh yeah, a
I was
lot of
doing
energy.
okay. Yeah, I was doing okay.
Amazing. Such a cool event and experience. The word we've been talking about the community. Oh, before I get into this, Gary's mother. You said you were going to come back to that.
Yeah.
I'd love to hear this part two.
So when I went to VeeCon, I've always known that you know that his mom was behind all of his kindness and things, and then he started to show that to the community. This is right around 2021, and that I said, I'm going to when I don't even know how I didn't know that they had helped pick out anything at that time, but somehow I just knew, and I had a bag made. Okay, for one for myself and one for her, and I had the mug made for Gary. And when I saw him at VeeCon, I told him that I said I know that your mother is the reason that you are the way you are, and that and it's just rippling into the community. And so I made this for her, and I said, I'd love to give her if she'll have it. And he said, of course she'll have it. He said, she's right over there. He goes, you go give it to her yourself. So that's when, at that moment, okay, his sister, I told you, which, we had known each other online, okay, and his mother are there. As I walked over to them, they started crying, okay. They said, we helped him pick that out for you. We were there, okay. And
Mm,
that's why I told you that 20 minutes that passed. Yeah, he was
yeah.
very thoughtful. and picked that one out. And so, that confirmed that. So, um, his mom was very sweet, and then Sasha was cute. He says, "Hey, I want a picture with you," and he
Oh,
he asked me for a picture instead of me asking Sasha, right? And it was just a great moment meeting the family. So when this VeeCon, like we were talking about, right, the hugging and everybody,
year
so
two of camp.
right. I was tired, and it was the community. Had just finished with all of our friends that were in the community, the outdoor, whatever it was, the
Field
event,
day.
right, field day, and so I was trying to avoid. I wanted to go back to my hotel, and we were going to something at night. And I said, "Oh, I just got to go back and freshen up." I was tired from the treatments and everything. And
Sure.
so not that I wanted to avoid anybody, but I'm just saying at that point I said, "Oh, let me just cut through here." And as I cut through, her name is Tamara. Okay, and she's sitting there with another couple, and she said, "Oh, Peggy, she said, come and sit down here with me." And she introduced me to her friends, and she said, "Tell them, okay, the story about Gary giving you the world of women." Okay, so I did, and and then she asked me a couple of questions, like we had talked about, like, well, how did you know Gary before this or something? How did you, know my son? Okay, how did you know my son before this and everything? And I said, um, I've been following him and for 20 years, and then I told her a couple of the things how they came into place. And she turns to me and she looks at me and she goes, "That's God." And I said, "That's how I feel about it." I said, it is somehow, okay, and I believe, the same thing. Now you're saying, you asked me why I'm doing what I'm doing in Web3, because there are, and I'm sure that you are experiencing this with your parents and your aunts and uncles and your grandparents and things, that people just haven't done as well in America as we were told that we would. Okay, and in our generation, we were told, okay, just do this. Okay, you do this, you go to school, you got that, you done here, there's that, and then you'll get your Social Security and you can retire. Okay, you'll be taken care of, and all of that. Well, it just didn't go that way. Okay, and so now, okay, we have a generation of people that have to work another job. People are living longer, and they're pushing the retirement age. Okay, and people my age, you know can't start doing physical labor. So this is a whole new frontier. Okay, and like Gary is, like I said, teaching us to fish. Gary points us to many business opportunities and says, "Look, if you do this, I'm not going to guarantee, but if you try this, okay, people are successfully doing this." Okay, and so I've had a passion, for cryptocurrency and things for a long time, for women to have their own money and have their own sovereignty. I knew women when I was a young woman, and I worked in like retail and things before I had a career. I knew women then, okay, whose husbands had passed away early, and they were forced to work, for the rest of their lives and things, and they were tired. They had
Mm.
already raised families and things. They had to go back to work for the rest, and not for anything. Some of those people, they weren't eating well and stuff like that. And I don't think it has to be like that. Okay, so um, all these things have led me to a new thing that I'm doing. I got a scholarship. I can't wait to tell Gary about this too. Okay, I got a scholarship because this is thanks to him, through to Shi-Fi University, and that is a decentralized finance education, like a formal education for
Wow.
females. And there's 700 women in my class, and I got one of 10 scholarships by the Xerion wallet, and uh, this is everything I've ever wanted to do. Everything, the cryptocurrency, the art, the finance, and my instructor at the school, who's the founder. I mean, she's just like Gary. I love her, and I'm sure he knows her. Okay, her name is Maggie Love, and she's very much the same. She's teaching you to fish, and she has this attitude. A lot of times, she doesn't say it plain, but she's like, "There's money there, and I'm going to teach you how to get it." Okay, so, and I'm going to help other females, and especially older folks, okay, to teach them. Even I mean, some of these cryptocurrency airdrop things, your parents can press a button. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? It's like, you tell Dad, go over there and press that button every 2 hours. No, seriously. And
True.
and money's gonna be just, there's so much to the opportunity. Okay.
Well, that's first of all, congratulations. That's fantastic, and I know you're gonna excel at that, and a very very ambitious angel of you to go through a program like that, and to with the intent of helping and blessing other people. Um, so fascinating. I'm just I probably said the fewest words on any podcast tonight, just because I'm just enjoying hearing just your perspective and your wisdom, and just your story. So thank you so much, Peg. A couple questions before our last segment. The community, back from, the early days, 2021, it was everyone was throwing that word community out, community this, we have the best community. What does that word mean to you, community?
Oh, there's just a generosity, and people invested um, in the other, improving uh, their lives. We're all, like I was saying to you, we're all here. We arrived here, and let me sidetrack with that one for a real quick second. I tell a story all the time, okay, about, I don't have a tech degree. I'm a professional dancer, and I did this, despite all of that. It was something that I wanted to do as a young person. My own family, the males in my family, all are ultra intelligent. The brother that passed away, he graduated in the top 1% of the 1%. Okay, and we had a lot of adversity. Despite what happened with my father, my mom, had some things, some instability, and so we experienced a lot of adversity. And I wasn't, I could have gone to college, but it was like a whole thing. I became a professional dancer. I did really well. I at the top of New York City dance. Okay, and that was a dream. Okay, that I fulfilled absolutely. Okay, but this is something on the same level. It's a passion that I need to fulfill. Okay, that this, like I said to you, somehow, all these things that I've ever wanted to do, I'm getting to do here. I started sidetrack, so because in the Clubhouse rooms in VeeFriends, many of us were feeling the same way. Okay, so we arrived there through Gary Vaynerchuk, and we didn't have the necessary finance skills. We all had the entrepreneurial spirit. A lot of us didn't have the tech skills, the social media skills, and things like that. We were there, but but like I said, the entrepreneurial spirit, and through Gary, so an MIT professor. This is in like 2021 in the summer. MIT professor comes in the room, and everybody's like, "Oh, this guy's an MIT professor." Oh, and someone asks, "What course can we take at MIT?" To get a certificate or to get a degree in Web3. And he said, nothing exists yet. He said, you people are writing the syllabus, and right. It was very powerful. And so from there, I've told lots of, and he said, if you arrived here, you're supposed to be here. And, it's very powerful. So we've arrived here. I'm really excited about being here, and I thank you for this opportunity tonight. It's been so much fun, and I want to invite you on my space, and I'll be going to video soon. As I'm recovering now, things are moving along.
Yeah.
So you definitely
I'd
need
be
to
I'd be
talk.
happy to anytime. I'm there, and I'm so privileged to have you here. It's fun to you're just getting started. It sounds like you're literally just
I
getting
know.
started. As cliche as that sounds, in this Gary verse, like it's all signs are pointing to that. So I'm so happy that you're here and doing well and just pursuing everything you want to pursue. It's absolutely amazing. So with that, I'd love to get into a quick, fun last segment here. I call it micro, macro, Spitfire. So I'm going to ask you a whole bunch of questions really quick, and you can go as general and macro as you'd like, or you can get your microscope out and elaborate as much or as little as you'd like. All right, so here we go. Micro, macro, Spitfire with Peg Moore. Number one, if someone is just getting into VeeFriends for the first time, who is one person they need to follow immediately?
Oh boy. I would say you guys now, okay? All of you, your group that has the collectibles, I would say that absolutely because you're going to get the information and get onboarded, through the collectibles and things. I think that's a really good way to come in when people don't understand NFTs. They hear about the NFTs and things, and that's something that you can introduce them to and help them with. So I really do think that I'm very excited about what you do and with the collectibles. I've sold many things like that myself. I have collectibles that I'm still trying to catalog and sell and things like that, sports cards and cultural cards
Oh,
and
wow.
that.
Very cool. Favorite teacher you had growing up and one reason why?
Well, I would say that it was my dance mentor, okay, because I was still young, and uh, she was just incredible. And I had a second mentor, which I'll tell you, this is a funny story. Um, she won an award at the Bessies, okay, which is like the Oscars or something like for dance in New York City. And so so I went to go. Now my mentors, they're old, and I went to go be with them, and it was just such a incredible night. Like here I am, a grown professional dancer too, and all of this. And but I had this recollection of the second one, and and I really did. I thought I was hot stuff. You have to, you
Yeah,
have to.
I
Okay,
bet.
and uh, she said to me, came over to me at the bar, and she said to me, "You think you're hot shit?" And I said, I was like, so I told her that. Later when we were at this event, I was like, she said, "I said that to you. I can't even believe I said that to you." I said, You said that to me." So yeah. So Joe Paisley and Joe Robbins is her maiden name, and Marcy Burns.
Amazing. You mentioned Popeye, but your favorite IP as a kid?
The Jetsons. My mom said that my mom bought me a Jetsons mug, and she said I couldn't be pulled away, okay, from the Jetsons, and and here we are, right?
Dirty Dancing or Flash Dance?
Flashdance.
What's a secret talent you have that most people don't know about?
Oh wow. I don't know. Well, we talked about the composting, right? We didn't even talk about that. But I'm a twice certified composter, master composter for the city of New York. I'm trained through the New York Botanical Garden. It's a very prestigious garden, and I'm responsible for now assisting with like the grassroots organic collections. But New York City this year was announced. The five boroughs will be collecting organic material, and
Oh, wow.
I've been So that was 15 years I've been doing that.
Amazing. Your favorite piece of physical VeeFriends memorabilia?
That I have.
Yep.
Oh wow, I have a consistent cougar pin um, from see I'm James Orsini or Orsini. See, I told you with the names tonight. James Orsini is a wonderful man. He's the CEO of Vayner, okay, of the one of the Vayner companies. And Gary gifted him a consistent cougar, so he had these wonderful pins made, and this was hilarious. Now we don't know each other, right? But this is like in the very beginning and everything, and he saw that I was, okay, you know what I'm saying? So he said, "Oh, I'll send you one." And when I received the envelope, it was just in processing or something. Okay, the pin fell out. Now I knew that no one, okay, would be collecting. No one would steal that, at the
Right.
time, right? So he said, "Okay, I'll give you another one." And that one, okay, it was the same thing. He put it in a different envelope and everything, and it didn't come right. So he, he's the head of a company. He's like, oh, he goes, oh, when I see a VeeCon, he goes like, I'll give you another one, so I have my consistent cougar pin. And part of the story with that was that the mug that I made for Gary, I had an appointment, okay, that there's like a longer story with that, okay. Team Gary V, they helped me out and they got me this appointment. So James, I had told him about the mug that I made and I was going to give him one. So he said, hey, I'm down on the field, let me give you the pin. And I said, okay, cool. I'm going to show you what the mug is like, and I'm going to give you one. And I took it out of the bag. It was broken. And bubble
No.
wrap and all this stuff around it. And I had been babying it. And he said, you have another one? I said, yeah. And he goes, well, run back to the hotel and get it, because I'm supposed to meet Gary like in a few minutes.
Yeah.
And so when Team Gary V, when that happened, I texted them and I said, listen, the mug broke and can I go back, to the hotel? And they said, oh, don't worry about it. We got you, and then that's the TikTok that you see that Gary made and all of that when he's greeting me and everything. And like, when he, like when I arrived there, he treated me like a celebrity. The whole thing
Yeah.
parted, and he said, "Hey," and I was like I said, "Do you know who I am?" So yeah.
Uh, Amazing. I love the context around the content. Um, so cool. Fascinating. So bougie hotel and spa or hiking, camping in the woods. And
Maybe a bougie hotel at this point, but I love hiking and camping. It's like,
favorite concert you've ever been to?
uh, oh my gosh. God, you know how many concerts I've been to? Maybe Led Zeppelin, okay?
Oh my
1970,
goodness. Amazing.
1974 Led Zeppelin. I had 14th row, okay? But we went to Woodstock, my family.
We need to have a whole other conversation
Yes,
just
yes.
on this.
Okay,
We
so
need part two, just music concerts because 74 Zeppelin, Woodstock, fantastic.
I've
Uh,
seen, also, I've seen, all the Fillmore East bands, okay, and things. I was only 12 years old. I was going, and that's not because of my father. That's another story. It's through my mother. Okay,
mm,
actually, that with all of that whole, that's I saw, like Hendrix there, and uh, oh gosh, like in the Bronx here, we had I won't continue with this, but we have a place called Gaelic Park, and everybody played there. Okay, the Allman Brothers and all those people from back in the day.
Fascinating. Wine, beer, or coffee for you?
Coffee.
Best pizza place in the city?
I don't know these days. I'm going to explore, but you know, uh, uh, even in the Bronx, it's not, things are changing and the places are changing. So I have to think about that. I got to reserve that one because I got to go taste some pizza there, and I'll let you know.
All right. Do your research.
I'm a really good cook, though. I make fantastic pizza. My,
Oh, there you go. That's it. That's your answer.
my Italian American mother-in-law, I watched everything she did. Easter's coming, and I think of her all the time because we used to. Boy, did we cook on Easter.
There's nothing like a homemade pizza night, too. Um, Fascinating. I'm going to take you up on that. Gratitude Gorilla or Patient Panda?
Think gratitude, gorilla.
What V friend needs to be voted into the White House this year?
Oh boy, I think patient panda.
Totally accurate. And this next one is very cool because you've had both experiences. Would you rather have a 2-hour group dinner experience with Gary, let's say you and 9 other people, or a 15-minute one-on-one?
15-minute one-on-one.
And if you, again, very unique because of all of your experiences, if he was here right now and you had one question to ask him and he had to answer truthfully, what would you ask him?
Oh wow. I don't know. Okay, I'm stumped with that one. You know what, I'll just tell you something funny that I said to him. He had given the morning at breakfast. He had given an update to all the gift goat holders, and everything's pretty serious because of the way NFTs were dropping in price and things like that, and people were concerned and everything. And so I said to him, Gary, I just got one question. I said, "What about book games?" Okay, he goes, "Peg, don't start with me."
That's amazing. That's a great ending point. Peg, I am so happy we got to finally do this, and I hope it's the first of many. I will come on the space whenever. I'm gonna plug all of your stuff. You're so lovely, and if you guys aren't following Peg more, check out all the links that I'm gonna put on, and give her a big hug at VeeCon in LA in August later this year. Peg Moore, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and honored to be here, and look forward to doing it again and having you in my spaces. So thank you so much.
We'll talk soon.